Hey everybody, it's Innovision, and there's been a ton of buzz swirling around in the community about enabling all 40 compute units on your BC-250 board. And it's easy to see why everyone's so hyped about it, because you're unlocking the full potential of your own homemade Steam machine. Problem is, none of these Steam machines are actually running SteamOS. In today's video, I'm going to show you the real Valve official SteamOS running on the BC-250 hardware. I'm going to talk about some of its limitations. I'm going to show some side-by-side gameplay comparisons with CachyOS, which is the closest thing we can get to the real SteamOS. Stick around, because you don't want to miss any of it. So look at that. I've got my BC-250. We're running the official Valve SteamOS. And let's just take a look at our settings here. So we're on the main update channel using Steam Deck Stable. So one note here is that this used to work right out of the box. It hasn't worked for some time now. And I've been developing my own tools for the community for dual boot setups for our gaming handhelds. Tools allow for custom installation as well as custom repair. I've made some updates to those tools to be able to get this running on BC-250. There might be other ways to get it up and running, but it's just quicker for me to use my own tools. You'll see we're on SteamOS Hollow, Steam Deck 3.9, and then look at that. We've got this Innovision Games kernel with the -dirty flag. The -dirty here is just a developer convention letting you know that there's uncommitted source code in this kernel that hasn't yet been uploaded to the version control or the source tree. And that's important for testing here. But I added, Innovision Games here just so I can see, yay, verily, yeah, I'm using my kernel that I hand rolled out. What I was doing here is just trying to enable all 40 compute units. And unfortunately, it doesn't work even with compiling the kernel. There are some differences between mainstream Arch Linux and SteamOS. You can see the BIOS version we have here. And it even detects that we're on a BC-250 here. If you look at CPU name, if there's enough interest and enough people like and subscribe to the video and let me know, I could actually upload the kernel and you can just install it. There's no need for you to have to compile the kernel yourself. Here we have a side-by-side gameplay comparison of Elden Ring running at 1080p with the max graphics quality preset. On the left we have CachyOS with 40 compute units. And on the right, we've got SteamOS 3.9 with 24 compute units, both of which are using the Cyan Skillfish Power Governor. Under both operating systems, the Power Governor has been configured the same way. I just want to note there are limitations to this kind of test, and to do more thorough testing, we would need to collect some data to look at the average frames per second as well as the quality of service. But just from a bird's eye view here, we can see that SteamOS does seem to have a few more frames per second, and I notice it while playing both games. Overall, there isn't a huge difference between the two. Maybe that will change once all 40 compute units are enabled under SteamOS. I guess time will tell. What does everyone else think? Another strange observation I had while playing and tinkering with stuff, if I disable the Power Governor and let everything run with the defaults, I actually get slightly better performance. I don't know why. Anyways, let's take a look at desktop mode here, just so we can see that, again, this is authentic SteamOS. I see so many videos where people are like, hey, I'm running SteamOS, but it's actually Bazzite. The closest you can get to SteamOS is CachyOS. It took a little while for CachyOS to grow on me, but I am loving every minute of it. I'm using it on my gaming PC that has an NVIDIA graphics card, and it's just blowing my mind. Anyways, here we're on SteamOS 3.9. It's showing the kernel version again. We're on a BC-250 and showing integrated graphics, and then the product name is BC-250. End to end, we're running the official Valve SteamOS. You can run it without the custom kernel that I have here. It's just that the installer is broken right now. And so if there's interest in seeing the installation and how to get it installed, I'm happy to put together a video for that. Just let me know. Here we have a side-by-side comparison of Ratchet and Clank. Here we have a similar setup like we saw for Elden Ring earlier. And one thing you'll notice is, for whatever reason, it seems like GPU utilization is much higher under SteamOS. And this could be attributed to the fact that we've got less compute units, so SteamOS might have to work harder. This would be an interesting test to repeat once we have all 40 compute units enabled under SteamOS. And you can see I rolled out my own custom kernel to be able to incorporate the modified Radeon driver that allows me to harvest all 40 compute units. And unfortunately, it doesn't work. This could be due to many things and it's going to require some debugging. If there's enough interest in this, I'm happy to continue pursuing the work. And what's truly amazing here is that SteamOS with only 24 compute units performed comparable to CachyOS with all 40 compute units unlocked. There's definitely more testing that has to be done here. You know, we're just looking at things kind of in a side-by-side fashion. If there's enough interest, I'll put together a full array of analytics where we'll look at average frame rates and quality of service and things of that nature. Until next time, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe. That way you don't miss all the amazing tech, toys, and gaming tips we've got coming down the pipeline.